All right, boys, welcome back to the Unrestricted.
It feels like I haven't seen you for a week.
Yeah, I know.
It's like
been
spring
12
break or
days.
something.
Must
Hope
have
you
been.
guys had a nice spring break.
It was good.
Yeah?
It was pretty chill.
Yeah?
Lot
Chill?
of chill, pun included. A lot of snow.
Yeah? Where'd you go?
Santa Fe and then up to Colorado.
Fantastic. Bob, did you get a break?
I stayed here and watched all the tourists.
You were here for the good weather
And the bad
weather. Okay. Awesome.
And it was as fat stupid with tourists. The new donut shop,
Voodoo.
I drove by there like every day for like this last week going, I want me some voodoo donuts.
Looking for fat kids?
Yeah. And the fucking line was out the door and around the block every damn day. It was that way 6 o'clock on a Sunday night.
Good for them.
Damn.
But
Good
here's
for them.
but here's an idea. Instead of putting a Washington product there, or is it Oregon? Wherever
Voodoo Donuts?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think they're Portland.
But they're
Oregon.
not local? Is that what you're telling me?
No, they're not
Oh,
local.
I wouldn't know.
What if you put like a kick-ass good Tex-Mex place there?
I would go for that, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's not enough good, authentic Tex-Mex down near the river.
That seems derivative.
Yeah. So nothing going on. Did you guys get to watch much of this college basketball tournament?
Unbelievable.
It really was.
It was
Much like I watch chaos.
It was really good.
I have been lauding college basketball since we were doing podcasts back in God knows what, November or something.
You've been lauding college basketball your entire life.
I have. That's a fact. But I remember I did a specific take on this show about why college basketball has the best season, start to finish, of any sport that there is, okay? You start off with these out-of-conference Maui invitationals.
Amazing tournaments.
That are awesome.
Best on best bangers.
Yep, right to begin the season, right?
Yep.
You get your Gonzaga versus Kentucky or what have you. And then they go into their non-conference schedule, and you get some amazing powerhouse matchups.
More bangers.
More bangers. Then they break that up, and they go into their conference tournaments,
And
which
the
are...
Big 12 was fucking insane this year.
I said conference tournaments. I meant conference schedules, which are incredible. Then it's the conference tournaments, which were, as you said,
Insane.
bangers.
Yep.
They were amazing. And then it rolls right into March Madness, which has been absolutely living up to its billing this year. Among other years where it's always crazy, this has been the craziest of recent memory.
But the most beautiful thing about the tournament is you got 5 guys, right?
On the floor?
Correct. And if you've got 5 good players, they can hang with anybody. And it's been proven time and time again, but I feel like this year it's been underlined, italicized, highlighted.
It's
Sure.
the
Fucking
ultimate.
Princeton,
Yeah.
Ben Hart just jizzed his pants 14 times.
I sent him a note of congratulations since he's a former Princeton player and grad.
There are as many Ivy League teams in the Sweet 16 as there are Big Ten teams.
Yeah. Speaking of that, there are 16 schools in the Sweet 16, as you
Is that how that works?
probably understand. There are 11 conferences represented among the 16 teams.
And that can't happen in any other collegiate sport.
Fuck no.
Maybe curling, but I'm
Or
not.
rowing, maybe. I don't know.
I doubt it.
I don't know. It's the
No, it
coolest.
can't.
It's the most democratic tournament.
St. John's doesn't have a rowing team.
Probably not. It's the most democratic tournament on the planet. It bears that out every year because a team like Texas A&M, who I thought got absolutely screwed by getting a 7 seed, and they did get screwed, and they had to play one of the hottest teams in the country in Penn State. But if you want to go forward, you got to win your game, and you're the higher seed, and they couldn't.
Yep.
And it's just that simple.
Well, go ahead, Bob. Sorry.
But this is the culmination of everything that's happening in collegiate sports between NIL, the portal. I mean, you go back a bunch of years to what AAU did to collegiate basketball,
Yeah.
where you can have a Princeton where you have 2 or 3 good 4-star kids who, if they gel and get decent support, they could, on any given night, beat anybody.
So I am
Nobody
so
on
glad
Princeton
that you
is a
brought that up.
4-star.
Nobody at Princeton is a 4-star.
No.
But what he's saying isn't wrong because the proliferation of AAU has made it such that a 5-star now is what used to be a 6-star back then.
Right.
I have that wrong, but let's say a 4-star now is what a 5-star was back then.
The
And
depth of play is so much greater.
That's it. And AAU, because I had a long conversation with 2 head coaches over the weekend, high school basketball coaches, about why the tournament has gotten to where it's gotten and why you see it filtering down into high school basketball, where some schools from Podunk, wherever, are getting better every single year and gaining ground on the perennial powerhouses that come out of Dallas and Houston and wherever else. And it's one, having to do what you're saying, Bob, which is the proliferation of talent just across the board is incredible. The training is better. The coaching is better. They train harder for longer. Their season doesn't end. There are so many more great kids now than there ever used to be. And the portal helps it, because if you're a good team, not a great team, not a blue blood, you can go poach the best player from a bad school, as you saw happen with a number of schools, including Kansas State. Their point guard, who absolutely has shown out in this tournament, the little dude, he's a stud. Well, they snagged him from, I forget what directional school in Louisiana.
Well, conversely, you get a team like Kentucky, and you can see it. You could see all the talent in the world, but they're not coached up because he doesn't have time. It's a factory. And you're going to have the 9th player there that can go somewhere else, be the star of the team, and score 31 in the tournament.
Right. And also with AAU ball, the proliferation of AAU ball, these kids on Princeton have played with the kids on these other blue blood teams.
So they're not
have
scared
no
of
fear.
them.
Yeah.
It used to
fear.
be, it used to be,
right.
you'd see a team roll into the gym, and as soon as the ball hits the hardwood, you could see their face, and it was like Kawhi the first time in the championships. I don't want this fucking ball in my hands.
Yeah, it's like if you looked over at the old Houston Cougars, you were like,
Fly
fuck
Slammer
that.
Jammer.
Fuck that. We
Yeah.
got no chance against them.
Ralph Simpson's
right?
going to eat my ass.
Yeah, like he played at Virginia, but
My bad.
he played for the Rockets later. I understand where you got confused.
Oh, so
But
confused.
But Akeem Olajuwon, back then Akeem, and Drexler and the rest of Phi Slamma Jamma. Yeah, you looked across the court and it's like, holy shit.
Game over. Don't even get off
we
the
can't
bus.
even play,
Right.
right? But it's not like that anymore.
They're
and
not scared.
I think there's more to it even than we're giving it credit for, and what we've already said I think is correct. I think coaching has also changed. It used to be that everybody felt like, no matter what level of your players, you felt like you had to coach them the same way Bobby Knight coached his team. No, that doesn't work, because Bobby Knight's got better players than you. So you better come up with something different that Bobby Knight doesn't have if you want to give yourself a chance. And nowadays, if you're a school, just throwing out Fairleigh Dickinson.
Fairly
right?
ridiculous.
Fairly Dick, New
Yeah,
Jersey's finest.
They're the fairest of the Dickinsons, aren't they? They come out there, right? And they're like, we are the shortest school in Division I basketball.
Jeff, you could have played for him.
Oh, I would have been nice.
And
Nice.
they ran circles around Purdue.
And that's the only way that David slays that Goliath, and it's almost a literal Goliath because you have a 7'4", 7'5" Zach Edey. How?
Me, Zach Edey. Me, post up. Me, direct descendant of Genghis Khan.
But I swear to you, if that same matchup takes place,
I'm just
There's
saying,
the cold open.
guys, I'm just saying a touch of the downs. Not full downs. Just a touch.
So while you're laughing, I mean, the best. While we're all laughing, the best impromptu shouldn't have been recorded locker room speech after Fairly Ridiculous beats Texas Southern, where he's basically telling his players, we're going to go and we're going to hand it to Purdue. We're going to do it.
yeah.
And he was right.
And the kids are fearless.
But
Yeah.
let me circle back to my original point, which is that 25 or 40 years ago.
Feed me ball in low post. The most ridiculous thing about that dude, he's 7'4", and they said he weighed 300 pounds. I don't think he did because he's fucking skinny.
He's 300 pounds, man.
It must be all in his ass and his feet.
He's got thick thighs and a pretty big waist.
But his
And he's
arms are
7'4",
just-
okay. It doesn't take a lot to be 7'4", 300 years old. Do you think he punches people like this, like downward with the bottom of his fist?
And
like
then
in
I
a
s-
cartoon?
then I saw his mom in the crowd. I was like, yeah,
Donk.
that makes sense.
Yes.
I wouldn't arm wrestle his mom for all the rice in China.
By the way, Zach Edey, not his fault. Not his fault they lost that game.
No, they weren't feeding him.
He was good. His teammates let him down. That's their fault.
His hands aren't that great though, and he didn't finish.
Bro, he's a much better player than you're giving him credit for.
But his showing when he lost to Fairleigh Dick,
I just didn't think he played a bad game at all. I thought his teammates absolutely
he had
screwed him.
4 or 5.
If you're 13 feet wide open, I'm sorry, you have to make a jump shot. You're a scholarship athlete. Make
Yeah.
a 3. Make a wide open 3.
Well, their 3-point percentage was garbage.
Yeah, and they were hot and cold all year long, and they have 2 freshman guards. So, look, by the way, only one guy in this room picked that game, picked that win, and bet on it, and that's me.
You picked Fairly Ridiculous?
Yes, I did. Thank you for the money.
Jeff.
Yes, I did. And I'll tell you why. Because I saw Fairleigh Dickinson play in the play-in game on Wednesday, and I watched what they did. Circling back to my original point, 30 years ago, a head coach at Fairleigh Dickinson was trying to play.
They weren't even at school 30 years ago.
Okay,
Actually, yes, they were.
but they were trying.
1952. I looked it up. They've only been in
He said
existence.
30 years ago. Can
I
you
know,
do the math?
yeah, but I mean, it's funny. It's like a college that Jess' grandpa invented.
Maybe. Can I make the point?
Maybe.
Their head coach 30 years ago would have coached his guys the same way Coach Knight coached his, with the similar fundamentals, similar structure, et cetera, et cetera. That's what they would have done. Nowadays, he knows, the head coach, Tobin Anderson, knows that we have the shortest team in Division I.
We're going to run the
And we are going
dicks
to
in the dirt.
three-quarter court trap you. We got 2 lightning-fast, mosquito-sized point guards. We're going to run like bees around you.
Mm-hmm.
And our biggest dude is 6'6", but he can shoot the 3. And your 7'4" guy is going to have to go out there and guard him. And the minute I
Don't want to.
the minute I saw them win, Bob, on Wednesday night, I called my buddies and I was like,
Your bookie or your buddies?
No, I called my buddy and I was like, place a bet on FDU. They can beat Purdue. They can. And they did. That's luck, okay? I mean, look, the odds were obviously against it. But a lot of things have changed, right? And it's narrowing the margin between the best and the bottom. And I think we're going to see a lot more of these before we see a lot fewer.
Does it almost devalue
No.
these upsets?
No.
I think it's one surprise after another.
I mean,
It's
I
like
think we're
it's
gonna
like
see
your
more
first
of them.
Christmas after your parents win the lotto. It just keeps coming and coming and coming.
I mean, because we didn't have a number 1 seed go down in the first round until
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
3 years ago.
And now it's 3 years, and we're having it again. And I wouldn't be surprised if this happens every other year or every year.
I don't think it's ever going to get to that point where it's that much of a regularity. But if it happens every 5 years, I would bank on that. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's so cool, okay?
Yeah.
It is so cool. And if you watch every single one of these Sweet 16 teams, there are, I don't know, probably 6 to 8 different unique playing styles between those 16 teams. And it's great, right? Pace is different depending on the team. Structure on
Styles
offense.
make fights.
They do. And that Purdue FDU game, that's exactly why I picked FDU. I was like, Purdue has 2 guards that I don't think can stay with those 2 little bugs.
They're not used to playing defense like that.
Not like that, they're not. They have a funny habit of getting real streaky from behind 3.
And it's great if you're hot. It's not so great if you're not.
Yep. And FDU is going to know exactly that they can't guard Zach Edey one-on-one. So they're
not-
going to throw 3 guys at him.
They swarmed the F out of him.
Yeah. And I'm serious about this.
Does he look down like King Kong from the Empire State Building?
Down like
He already
down,
said down at some point.
He looked down so
Never go full.
never. Forrest Gump. Sure, he had the knee braces, and Mama had to do horrible things to get him into school, but he won a gold medal at ping pong. And ping pong, well, that just ain't retarded. All right,
Yeah, go for it.
Great Schwami moving forward.
Yeah.
We got 16 teams. Give me a handful of who can win.
Okay. Your odds-on favorite, I mean,
Bama.
is Bama. They are so good.
When did they get so good at basketball?
This year.
Well,
Just now.
Shouldn't that be against the law?
I know, to be this good at
for
that.
a team
Yeah.
that still hadn't figured it out that slavery's illegal. For them to have the football team and the basketball team,
Definitely the football
are they
team.
going to take over golf? Oh, wait, they're really good at golf too,
Yeah,
aren't
they?
they?
I mean, look, that's what they prioritize at that school for sure. They're awesome. And they have the bigs. Oh, reminds me of my last point on why I think the field has gotten closer together.
Okay.
The importance of having the rarest of rare human beings, the 7-footer, on your squad is just not as important as it used to be.
Even in the NBA, it's not.
Exactly. And you see with these 16 teams that are still alive, man, some of these teams have 6'9" centers.
Right.
Like 6'9", 6'10". There might be a 6'11" or a 7-footer somewhere on their bench. But like they're going with 6'9" and 6'10" bigs. TCU did it. Kansas State is doing it. UCLA is doing it. There are a bunch of teams that are just saying, look, we would rather be mobile and agile at all 5 spots than have one slug who, I don't care how tall he is, he can't get out and guard guards.
Right.
And that's been one of the biggest changes in basketball over the last 25 years is that guard basketball has just elevated to a level that I couldn't even see it going. There's not a point guard in this tournament that can't go get you 30 points. Step backs, side steps, dribble penetrations.
Well, they used to
cook
just
every big man.
deliver the ball,
Yeah.
and now they can score.
Now they're cookers. Yeah. It's a big change in basketball in the 2000s has been that. So you can't have some slogging 7-1 guy. Now there's the rare 7-1 guy that comes along that can actually move his feet, and those are the unicorns of this world. Those are the Kevin Durant's, the Giannis Antetokounmpos, et cetera, and those guys are, literally unicorns. But if you're a college basketball coach, you don't have to go in search of a unicorn 7-footer in order for you to have a great college basketball team anymore.
Yeah.
So that's a big change, man. So you're asking who can win it all.
Yep.
I still think Alabama's going to win it all.
So that's who you have?
Oh, yeah. I picked them from the beginning, and I'm staying with them. But there are a couple teams that could give them real trouble. And, forgetting for a second about where teams meet, okay, because you never know. Some of these teams could get knocked out on Thursday and never get a chance to get to Alabama, like UConn, right? But
They've
if
looked really good.
They are good. They are
How
good.
are they quiet little giants?
They're not. I mean, look, they rose into the top 4 at some point this season. They went through some weird stretches where they were a little inconsistent, but they've got guys.
They've been cooking.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, I don't think they've lost.
They've got big guys. They've got guard play.
20. Yeah, they're murderers.
Yeah.
And they match up pretty well against Alabama. They have big wings. They have athletic bigs that can move.
Jacked bigs.
Yeah. Sonogo.
That dude should be a tight end.
Yeah. So that's a matchup that I would love to see. I don't know that we'll get to see it. UCLA is really good.
I hadn't seen him.
I don't think they match up well against Texas. I don't think they match up well against Alabama. So I don't think they could. If they get past Gonzaga, which they might, that's going to be a great game. That's an awesome game, man.
That's going to be.
There's a lot of history between those two teams going back a long time. But recently, the Jalen Suggs shot from midcourt that beat UCLA. Like, there's history, right? So that's going to be awesome. Jaime Jaquez against Drew Timme. Totally sweet.
Timme.
I mean, that's headline stuff,
Timme,
right?
Timme.
That's going to be in marquee. Yeah, Timme. No, that's going to be great. But I don't think either one of those teams, UCLA or Gonzaga, matches up well if they should have to play UConn, if they should have to play Alabama, or even if they have to play Texas.
Just different styles.
Yeah, and I think the team speed overall of Texas, of Alabama.
So you're saying Texas has a chance?
It will not surprise me one bit if Texas is in the finals.
I've read that a lot recently.
Yeah, I mean, they
From
are
people
that good.
know a lot more about basketball than I do.
They are that good. Now,
Well, they get guys that heat up that hadn't done shit all year.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, Disu the other night
That's
had
what
the
I'm
game
talking
of his
about.
life.
Was that not the best when they show his dad and he's wearing a black cowboy
That
hat?
was so cool.
That made me so happy.
That was so cool. Pflugerville's own, by the way.
Booyah.
And I want to see Texas Alabama in the finals just for the stories swirling around that game. You have a team that took the moral high ground and let go of a guy for alleged contact
who already has a job.
Yeah, at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And then
You called it.
And then you have a team
That's right. I broke that news.
Yeah. And then you have a team that's like, yeah, you brought a gun. You didn't. You may whatever.
Well, speaking of Alabama,
you're a high scorer. Go.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have a D-back that just got arrested, I think, last night for driving 141.
Yep.
Jeez.
He was running from the cops. They pull him over. And
Wasn't
he
running. He ran 141 miles an hour?
Well, he'd already be in the NFL. No, he was driving 141 miles an hour, and they finally pulled him over. He had $7,000 in cash and 248 grams of marijuana.
Holy cow. So he'll start week 2.
So they're going to slap him, just a
It
little.
was for personal use.
Rounding out the rest of the Sweet 16, Creighton is a team that I latched onto very early in the season.
They're always salty.
Then I got off of them. They lost 6 in a row early in the year. They were 9-8, I think, through the first 17. They're coming back on.
Who do they got? Florida,
Princeton.
right?
Princeton,
Okay.
which that's going to be interesting.
It'll
I
be
think,
fun.
I think Creighton, frankly, is just a little bit too good, but it won't surprise me if that game is super close.
Well,
And then Creighton would have to play Alabama, and I don't
They'll
like
get
that matchup.
slammed.
I don't like that matchup for them at all.
it's the widest spread according to the books.
So
at 10.
Bama, it sounds like Bama's got the easiest.
They do. They would eventually get probably Tennessee if numbers hold, or Kansas State.
That's a great story.
Kansas State.
I read about
damn
that
right.
coach.
Yeah, he came from Arizona, I think. I think he was on the
He was an assistant coach at Baylor.
Baylor. I said Arizona. You're right. He was an assistant since 2006
Yeah.
at Baylor.
So,
Yes.
and when he got his job at Baylor, he had $10.38 in his bank account.
What?
And Drew
Yeah.
says, I want to interview you. I'm coming to your house for dinner. And he's like, well, I got to make a meal to get a job for $10.38. Figured it out, made a meal, got hired.
That's awesome.
What did he serve?
I know, right?
Somebody else's food. He called up Jameis Winston, and of course they had crab claws.
Kansas State is nice, dude.
I just like the hustle.
Yeah, they play super hard.
The piss and vinegar.
So much of the Big 12 regular season this year was just
Big 12's tits.
dude, it was awesome. And I was plugged into it, through the conference season. It was such a brutal rock fight. I mean, there were 9 teams
Any given night.
that could beat you on any given night in that conference.
And then when Texas beats Kansas by 20,
yeah.
then that was like the first time in a long time I'm like, uh-oh, Texas might do something.
Yeah, Kansas was missing one of their best players. But yes, and we've seen Kansas already bow out, okay? But who did they lose to? My favorite team of this entire college basketball season, and that's Arkansas, who I think I told you guys, like, right after the Maui Invitational, like, watch out for these dudes. I think they have 5 NBA players, and they have been the biggest headache for me to watch and to bet on, frankly, all season long. You can't figure them out. They got all the talent in the world, and they are head cases. They don't play together. They argue and complain more than any team in the country. That goes from their coach, Eric Musselman, all the way down to the
Shirt
best
off,
players.
Musselman.
Yeah, shirt off. Yeah. Hey, man, I'm proud of that guy, okay? All right, first of all, he's married to a beautiful black woman up in the stands, and he's got the gall to take his shirt off at like 58 years old.
He's feeling it.
Yeah, man, he's feeling himself.
KC and the Sunshine Band vibes right there.
Yeah, for real. Arkansas beating Kansas was not a surprise to me at all. I knew that game would be close. I just didn't know whether Arkansas would implode on themselves like they usually do. And they almost did, but they were able to get it done. Kansas had a bad night. That's all it takes in this tournament, right?
Yeah.
One bad night against one good
You're
or
going home.
hot team, and you're going home. Kansas, by the way, could have just as easily found themselves in the finals playing against
Oh yeah.
Alabama. I mean, that was not a far stretch, right? Tennessee at the top of the bracket could wind up, they're going to have to get through Kansas State. That's going to be brutal. But Tennessee's really good, and they're really old, and they're really smart, and they're really strong. We've seen that so far this tournament. Their team's strength has really shown out. They can guard.
Yeah.
It won't surprise me if they push Alabama, but I don't think they have enough to get it done. The same goes for Kansas State. That's going to be a killer matchup if we can get there, but I don't think they have enough. Miami they played an awful round one game they shouldn't have won. Then they played the game of their season on Sunday and looked amazing, almost unbeatable. And I don't know which team of theirs is going to show up, but I don't think they're going to beat Houston. Houston's got too many dudes. And we've been talking about this a little bit throughout the show. Guard play in this tournament is everything. It's just everything. You can shut down bigs with an amalgam of men. You can't do that with a guard who's shooting step back 28-footers.
Yeah.
And Houston, teams like Houston, Baylor had this until they fell out. Kansas State has it. Alabama has it.
Texas has it.
Texas
when their
has
guys
it.
are
Thank
hot.
you. Yeah, Texas has it, absolutely. If you got 2 or 3 of these guys, and some of these have 3 guys who can do this stuff, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guard them. And Houston falls in that category. Athletes up front, stud guards in the back. I mean, I wasn't sure what to think about them since they got just trounced in their conference tournament finals against Memphis.
Yeah.
But they've got it back together. They look healthy, and watch out.
Is it just me, or does the zone defense really seem to work during the tournament?
Tell me more.
I feel like teams don't always show it,
Okay.
but when they need, let's say they go down 9-0 run or something, they call a timeout, they come out in the zone, and they just give these guys fits, and the game gets close again.
Yeah.
Then they abandon the zone and go back to man-to-man.
Yeah, so I know what you're getting at. And
Are
I
you
think there's
seeing it, though?
Yes. But moreover, I see coaches just making any old defensive adjustment, whether it's to zone, whether it's to three-quarter court trap. If you're getting scored on, you got to make a change,
Do
right?
something.
And you don't have to change for the rest of time immemorial, but you need to change whatever
Give 'em a
momentum is
different
going.
look.
Give them a different look. That's right. And some of the coaches have gotten great at it. The FDU coach was unbelievable at changing between man-to-man, 45-foot out man-to-man, and then he'd go to three-quarter court trap, and Purdue just could not figure out where the next guy was coming from for 40 minutes. But yeah, you'll see Texas will go man-to-zone. Kansas State will go man-to-zone. But they're not going to – there isn't a team like the old Jim Boeheim Syracuse Orange who –
His unceremonious exit.
Yeah, slightly.
Well, who actually said this season, we have a 2-3 zone, and that's the only defense we have.
He's said that for 49 years. I mean, he's never coached anything else. But I think I talked to you about this regarding high school basketball a couple of weeks ago, Richard. The reality is, if you're the offensive coach going against a zone, you only have 3-4 plays that you've drawn up against a zone, over your entire season.
Right.
And it could have been weeks since your team last ran it.
Mm-hmm.
So, because you don't see it all the time.
So it's a good way to shake it up.
And Jim Boeheim said throughout his career, hey, man, I'll start playing man-to-man when the opposing coach has as many plays against zone as he has against man.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, there's some sense in that, right?
Absolutely.
And, zones have their own inherent problem, and that's why teams don't stick with it the way Boeheim's did for entire games. But he was such a good coach at it, they could, and had a lot of success in his 49 years.
Just not this year.
Yeah, no, yeah. Look, he had some down ones, especially towards the end.
So you're picking Alabama.
I am, but I don't think they're going to go through this untested. I think Tennessee, Kansas State could test them. If they get this deep, Texas, UCLA, UConn for sure can push them. Houston, oh my God, I would pay to watch Houston against Alabama.
You probably will.
I would love to. The athleticism that will be on that floor, the speed at which that game gets played, is going to break people's minds.
Ballers, ballers.
Yes. It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
With the exception of a couple of surprises in this Sweet 16, you've got a lot of teams that people expected to be here who are probably not going to fall on their face once they've gotten this far in, right?
Yeah. Who do you got, Bob?
I had Alabama in my bracket to start with.
From Jump Street, just like Jeff.
Yeah, it's Brandon Miller gets all the attention there because he's going to be the highest pick.
And is a gun broker.
Is he going to be top? Is he going to be top 5?
Absolutely. I think he may have climbed his way into the number 2 spot.
Ahead of
Scoot. Yeah.
Really?
Scoot. There are
That's
several,
fine, and then we'll get Scoot at 3.
which that would not suck.
Night, Sweet Prince.
Honestly, between any of the 3, you're not getting a loser in any one of those 3 guys, Wemby, Scoot, or Brandon Miller. You'd be happy to have any of them. Spurs can't win anymore, damn it. They won the other day.
I know.
But they're still 4 clear. We're not too worried about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Are they going to win 20? They're at 19 right now. Do they win another game?
yeah, they probably win one more. Yeah.
Will they
That's
win
it.
21?
No. I don't
Okay,
think so.
because I've got a good buddies in front of yours too that put $1,000 down that said the Spurs can't win 21.
Okay. It's going to be close.
It's real close.
Is 21 a push or 21 a loss?
20's a push.
20's a push. Okay. All right.
21's a loss. Shout out, buddy.
Alabama's more than just Brandon Miller. They have serious athletes up front that guard the rim well, that rebound well, that run the floor well. Their point guard, whose name is going to escape me right this second, has just been tremendous. And
What
will
does Miller
continue to
play?
be. Small forward.
But does he bring the ball down the court?
He can, but that's not his main job.
How big is he?
He's 6'9".
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So what's he going to play for the Spurs?
He's a small forward. He's an NBA small forward. Prototypical. Yeah, I know.
It's exciting.
And it's the hardest spot to fill with a great player in the entire league. You can
was
fill
Jordan a small forward?
Jordan was a shooting guard, but Pippen was their small forward.
He was okay.
Yep, he was quite good. No, it's the hardest. You can get a lot of really good players, we'll just say good players in the NBA to play your small forward, but there is a very small number of great. So when you find one that's coming out of college who looks like Paul George, who dribbles like Paul George, who shoots like Paul George, who scores like Paul George, it's awfully hard for people to say, yeah, or people not to say, yeah, you know what, I'll take Paul George with the number 2 or number 3 pick. I mean, who wouldn't? Paul George has been awesome since, I think he came out in 2009. So, yeah.
That leg injury was kind of...
That was brutal, but he came back from it pretty damn good. Yeah.
Rolling back to Jordan, either one of you guys excited for the movie Air?
Absolutely not.
Really?
Not even a little.
After critics
of all,
cried?
First of all,
You're a party pooper.
I've had enough.
Hey, Matt Damon.
I had enough of the Affleck-Damon combination. Like,
Really?
I just,
The bromance? You're over it?
I just, look, it was cute in Good Will Hunting. I get it. They wrote it. That was cool. I don't need to see them act face-to-face in every single movie anymore. I'm over that era of my life. And I'm also very much over this idea that Hollywood has had over the last, 5 years of we're just going to take every story that you, Bob, that you, Richard, that I grew up with.
You're not excited about the Tetris movie?
And that actually sounds great. See, that sounds great. That sounds great. But who doesn't know the story of Michael Jordan? And the shoe part of it, okay, that's a twist.
Did you read Shoe Dog?
No, I didn't. But I know the book.
Yeah. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, and okay, do you remember the Straight Outta Compton movie, the NWA movie?
Of course I do.
Right, we all saw it, right?
I've got the T-shirt.
I went, I enjoyed it, but I was also like, you know what?
I lived it.
I lived this. Not I lived in comp. I did not know. You know what I mean? But I was listening to this when I was 12, right? The story of NWA is not one that I don't know, right? I don't need a behind the music for 2 hours on a flat screen.
You knew Eazy got AIDS.
And I knew that, yes. And I knew that Jerry Heller fucked them.
Yeah.
Right?
Old Jerry.
So that's my that's how I'm looking into this Air movie.
I wasn't expecting this reply.
What? You thought I was going to be excited about it?
At least not so vehemently opposed to it.
I'm just not that interested.
I think it's going to be good.
I bet your kids love it. That's what I bet.
Well, Ava doesn't watch movies. Rico might watch it with me.
And I bet that you, Bob, and I bet that you, Richard, and I bet that me, I bet all three of us will be like,
I'm not going to go to the theater to watch it. I'll watch it on some streaming service. I'm
Yeah.
not going to pay money.
yeah, okay, fair enough.
I'll pay money to see Tetris.
Yeah, but you don't have to because I think it's an Apple movie or something.
I
Maybe
somehow
Netflix.
wound up in the middle of the night the other night, and since you guys are both military guys, I want to bring this up. Have you ever seen The Men Who Stare at Goats?
Oh, God, yes.
Okay.
Great movie.
I guess somehow
Great movie.
I guess somehow I had missed it, and I had taken some Mucinex because I had this terrible cold, and Mucinex, I don't know about you guys, it might as well
gets
be
you
crack
loopy?
cocaine. Okay, it keeps me up like a methamphetamine. I can't sleep. I can't sleep.
Just picking at your face.
Yes,
So-
pulling out my own teeth. It's really bad.
So you were staring at the men who stared at goats?
Yes, at like
It was goat on goat crime.
at like 3:00 in the morning. But I'm like glued to this movie because that was really good.
Yeah, it's a
It
great
was
movie.
quite
It
funny.
was insane.
Yeah.
I think about that time Burn After Reading came out right around that same time,
That
which
was
is
really
just
good.
as insane.
Yeah. I don't know how I got off on that tangent.
You did, and I pushed you there.
All right. Anything else going on? I mean, or anything else you want to ask me about the tournament before we move on?
I'm picking Texas. Probably just gave him the kiss of the Spider Woman, but
They have look.
I'm
They
picking
have
Texas.
They have as good a chance as anybody not named Alabama, in my opinion. Yeah, they can get it done, and all they need is Alabama to have one bad 3-point shooting night, and Alabama can lose to anybody, because Alabama is the most 3-point plus layup heavy team in all of college basketball. They shoot nothing in the mid range. They're all analytics driven. We're going to shoot threes and we're going to shoot layups and we're going to go to the free throw line. That's what they do. But if they have a night when they don't make threes, another good team can beat them.
And the one interesting thing I heard, I forget who I heard this from. It was like they're looking forward into the tournament. It was normally we come into March Madness and we're like, okay, we have 4 or 6 teams that could realistically win the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
As we rolled into this, he's like, I think it's between 10 and 15 teams that could realistically win this tournament.
I certainly
It's
heard a lot of
wide
people
open.
say that too, and I think they were all correct.
Where's
And,
the Final Four this year? City.
Houston.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Houston would be great to get to Houston with Jim Nance,
That'd be huge.
Houston graduate, on his last NCAA call.
Freddie Boom Boom.
Freddie
will
Boom
be
Boom
there.
Couples would get in there. You know he would.
That's a great segue. Freddie Boom Boom Couples. I actually broke down.
Is it a good segue if you call it?
Fuck you. I actually,
Thank you.
yeah.
I was just going to say that to him.
Como se dice eat a dick? I watched some live golf.
You what? What?
I did.
That is not what I thought you were going to say. Okay.
I watched some live golf. And so when you have a streaming system and you go down to what's on now,
Okay.
it'll just come up with stuff that you usually watch. For whatever reason, I guess because I watched the other golf, the analytics put the CW on because I didn't know I had the CW on my AT&T stream.
Yeah, I wouldn't know if I have it.
Yeah, because you got to look for that shit.
Yep.
Whenever Buffy the Vampire Slayer's on, I don't have it programmed, except for when Alyssa Milano was on it. Oh, that's Charmed, different
Yeah.
deal.
Yep, that's
Charmed.
Charmed.
They share the same network.
Yep.
But it's on. So I was like, and it's in between commercials, and there's so many basketball games on. I was like, all right, let me take a little break because my head's starting to hurt. I go over and I'm watching it, and I watched 2 holes with the leader, which was Ustaten.
Oosthuizen?
Usten Asken.
Yes.
Louis.
Yeah.
Shrek.
Yeah.
They're playing in the desert somewhere. I don't think it's the Saudi desert. I think it was
Like an American
Somewhere in
desert?
yeah, Arizona somewhere.
It was an
in the
American
States
desert.
this week.
And it was shit golf.
Really?
Yeah. It was bad.
What do you mean, like the golf course was bad?
No, the players.
Really?
Yeah. So Louis at 11, and he's trying to fucking throw it away.
Huh.
He's in a bunker, fairway bunker off the tee, misses the green. Next hole, I think he makes a bogey, so it's tied. Next hole, he's in the fairway, misses the green, and I'm like, this is shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that does go to Freddie Couples. Did anybody read what he said 10 days ago about Phil Mickelson? Hey, if you want to pay Phil Mickelson $200 million
to shoot 74 and 75,
then have at it. But I think there's something to it.
They're not practicing.
Yeah, I got a funny feeling that you're right.
They don't give a fuck. I hope they don't get their hands chopped off.
Those guys all practice, okay? Or no, I shouldn't say they all. Almost all of them practice routinely.
But I mean,
there is a difference between practicing to practice and practicing to put
win.
Food on the table.
That's what I was going to say.
The food is already on the table.
You practice a little different.
When you're farming babies, the slaves are all working.
Yeah, when you can only eat what you kill, you practice a little different.
Well, and here's the thing. Usually in these the desert tournaments in Arizona, they're like 29 under, right?
Often.
These guys were 10 and 11.
Huh. I'd have to look into the course and how it played. No? That wasn't it?
I mean, these dudes
just
usually are
wasn't great
just
golf.
throwing darts.
Yep. Danny Lee shot a 2 under 69 in the final round.
2 under.
It's not a very good final round, is it?
You're 2 months of good practice of shooting 2 under. Maybe. I
don't know. Probably not. It's interesting, Richard. That's interesting.
It was crap.
I wonder if the
Fucking
field
crap.
has an entire give a shit factor.
Even Cam.
Yeah, Cam Smith. Yeah.
He was 6 under, whatever.
Yeah, I
think they're all going to eat shit at the Masters.
That is an interesting
I think they're going to eat shit. Right now, none of them in the top 10.
Is that what you would bet on?
Right now.
Boy, howdy. I got to tell you, after this show and before the next show and before the Masters.
Are we going to get your golf nerds on?
No, yeah, sure. But let's make sure that we look up the odds on a live player winning.
Cam's 16 to 1 right now.
To win?
Yeah.
Really?
And before last weekend,
actually pretty good.
Before last weekend, he was 10 to 1. If the points were counting, if he would have played, he'd be the top 3 players.
I guess then there's something else to it. The question is,
they don't give a shit
how hard is he
anymore.
working at his craft?
Yeah. I'll tell you, he's a stud, is Scotty.
Scheffler?
Yes.
Holy smokes. The guy drives it so accurately.
Did you see that thing?
Long, and he puts it so well. That combination, for as long as golf has been a sport, has been the most deadly. So, if you are long and accurate off the tee and you putt it well, you're the best player.
So I saw something on Insta feeds, and he's got his caddy, he's got his bag, and they're like 9 iron. He's like 147, hits it 147.
I saw this, and they took him to driver Bob, and
he was a yard off.
And they're like, "Call your number." He's like, driver 308. He calls it before he hits it. The little track man comes up, 307.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And several of his clubs were within a half yard.
No, 5 iron in, he was like tits on.
Yeah, he was dead on. 0.0.
Second best odds for Scheffler.
Who's first? Rahm?
Yeah. +7. Actually, no, they're tied. John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, +750.
I like John Rahm a lot. I will not be taking him at the Masters. That's not a good golf course for guys with short swings.
Rory McIlroy at +800.
That's a smart play.
And then Cam Smith at +1600.
Interesting. Smith, the highest of the live guys?
Yeah.
By far?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, see any others on there as you're looking at it? Like Dustin or Brooks?
Dustin +2200. Schauffele +2200.
So that's interesting. So they're giving Dustin and Schauffele the same odds.
Yeah, Brooks +5000.
Yeah, well, that's how he's playing.
Right with Tiger.
Interesting. Going with fringe sports, have you guys caught the World Baseball Classic at all?
I haven't watched any. I've just seen players get hurt.
Okay, yeah. Including one in a celebration.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Tuve broke something in his hand.
Yeah, he did.
I was at a restaurant where some lady was with her significant other man and was like, "Is the World Series on?"
Idiot. Slapper. Wow. I'm sorry you guys haven't watched it.
No.
I got to be honest. It's the most entertaining baseball that I've watched in years, and that includes the World Series. What is coolest about it is you get the different cultures in the stands and the different cultures on display on the field, right? Because Japanese sensibilities are different than the Mexican sensibilities, which are different than the American sensibilities, and the Cuban ones, right? And the Dominicans play it their way, and all of it is on display, and all of it flies in the face of this unwritten rule-laden bullshit that American baseball has been for 100-odd years, where you can't disrespect the game by flipping your bat. Is that what you're doing when you flip a bat? Or are you just celebrating with your team that you just did something awesome that helped them get the lead? I have no problem with that kind of stuff.
I love the bat flip.
I do too.
I'm
And
not
I
mad
hope
at it.
more of it comes to Major League Baseball. It's better for the sport if players are more characteristic, right?
As long as they're ebullient and it's about
Wait
honest,
a minute. Abulian?
Yeah. And
Look at
honest,
this fucking guy.
You put it in your soup.
and honest
It's a
about
bouillon.
Yeah.
It's a bouillon. And honest about their celebrations. And it really isn't, because the unwritten rule of baseball is when you did that shit, it wasn't disrespecting
take
the
one to
game.
the head.
You were disrespecting
And I love that
the guy
shit
on the
too.
mound.
The pitcher, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you catch one in your eyeball, like Dickie Thon.
Yeah. I love the quote from the one pitcher who's like, yeah, I had a list. And did you get everyone? Said, no, I missed one in my playing career, but I got him in an old timers game.
That's Bob Gibson.
Yeah.
That's Bob Gibson. Bob Gibson, the last guy he faced hit a home run off of him. And the next time he saw him was an old timers game, like 8 years later.
And he
banged
lights him up.
Yes.
I like that.
Great story.
I mean, I kind of like those stories.
That's a great story, but in the moment, it is so much more fun to watch the guys like the Japanese last night beat Mexico on a walk-off. Dude, they went ape shit.
Oh, yeah.
It was cool. I am so okay with this. And by the way, the quickness of the games, which is happening in spring training and a little bit in the World Baseball Classic, where these lengthy 3.5, 4-hour games are being whittled to 2:30, 2:45. It's been so much better.
Well, and to see Mike Trout playing a meaningful game,
That's the biggest thing. You're right. Go. Yes.
because his team sucks donkey dicks.
I have known about Mike Trout for God knows how long. Do you
He's
know how many-
been the highest paid player that no one gets to see unless he hits a home run, which he does a lot.
Yeah.
But
You know how many at-bats?
he's not playing for shit until this week. When's the game?
Tonight, 7
All right,
o'clock.
everybody watch it.
Yeah. How many times have you ever seen Mike Trout take a live Major League Baseball at-bat, not on SportsCenter and not in the All-Star game?
#0.
Yeah. I think I have like maybe 3 or 4.
I think I
But,
went
like,
to a game once.
Oh, there you go.
Where
But
he-
like, it is so hard for anybody who's not on the West Coast to get to see.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
asleep.
To get to
Or
see
we're not watching that shit.
Otani.
That shit's
or
not on.
Trout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otani and Trout are two of the game's biggest stars, if not the two biggest
And
stars.
they're going to play against each other tonight.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
And Otani, I think, is available to pitch. It's pretty rad.
gonna
I've
be
been
good.
very into this World of Baseball Classic. Here's something that screwed me up the other day.
What would that
For
be?
how many years has the World Baseball Classic been going on? Take a guess.
I would say 20.
30 to 40.
I thought it was like 6. No, it's you're close. It's about 20 years.
Okay.
I
Boom.
think 2005.
Mic
I think
drop.
is when it started. But it was every 4 years for a minute. Then it was every 3
It's like the
years.
Davis Cup.
Then it was every 2 years. They have not figured out a regularly scheduled program for this thing, and they need to, because it's something that honestly I could see myself one day looking forward to and even attending, because it's a confined amount of time.
And it's a nice beginning to the season of baseball.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. Yeah. Of course, you have the slog of 162 games coming up right after it. So it's very hard for it to continue the cool momentum that it brings at the beginning. But I follow you. It is a nice way to start. It's a little bit like having like NASCAR having its Super Bowl at the beginning of the season, right? But yeah, no, I've been very into it, and I'm looking forward to tonight's game.
Cool.
It's going to be good. Quietly, the Cowboys have had a good offseason.
Have they? Tell me.
Yes.
All right. So they trade for Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah. Former New England Patriot, Stephon Gilmore.
Correct. And they give up nothing. 6-rounder.
Oh, great.
And the team they trade with is going to pick up some of his salary.
Okay.
Then they get Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, so I have a big question about that.
Okay. What's
Are
your
we
question?
sure that Cooks is any good anymore?
I think he is.
We sure?
I
Isn't
think
he
he is.
30?
No, he's 27.
Oh, okay.
He's 27. He's never had any major surgeries. He's just played for
Bad teams.
bad teams.
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay.
And you need something on that and those positions.
Except if he gets us out of the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes, because I was super excited about that.
They're gonna have to pay him too much.
Is that right?
It's gonna be a shit show. Yeah, it's an arms race. I think they're trying to do it smart, but better than they've done in the past. If that makes sense.
Are you saying Hopkins wouldn't be worth the money?
I don't think they have the money to do it.
Okay.
I mean, they let my man Zeke go.
One of the biggest things that I thought about the Cowboys last season was the lack of a number one. And Brandon Cooks is a nice player, but he's not a number one. And CeeDee Lamb is really good, but he's not a number one.
He's
a 1B. He's a 1B, but he's not a 1A. Like Amari Cooper was a 1, right? I don't know. I would have rather – I want us to get a DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, though,
But-
if you have a good coaching staff, I think you can easily overcome that number one. Tell me who was a number one for the Chiefs?
Okay, but they have a super duper number one throwing the football.
Their number
Right.
one
Are you
is
saying
is
Dak
their,
Prescott isn't that good?
That is what I'm saying.
their number one's their tight end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and so okay, so
Fair enough.
we re-signed Donovan Wilson, who was fucking amazing last
Which
year.
one was he, bro?
He's our safety,
Oh, yeah.
number
yeah.
6.
Yeah, he was real good.
They lock him up. They're bringing back Van Der Esch for another year.
Okay.
He had 100 tackles
I'm
last
glad.
And
Yep.
adding Dante Fowler.
Yeah, well, they're keeping him too. They had him last year. He was a little banged up, but he's a pretty good chess piece. So now with the moves that they made, they can do what they say they do: is pick the number one player available at 26.
Yep. You got any? You got eyes for anybody?
It's
Too
gonna
far
be
away?
it's gonna be really hard for them, I think, because they picked up a running back today too, who you kind of me on. But
Jones,
Yep.
Ronald Jones. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not good. I mean,
Yeah, but-
he's not. He's
But Zeke wasn't either.
that's a fair point.
Zeke was an average running back. This guy's an average running back.
I think you're right, and a much cheaper average.
and
running back.
the draft is full of decent to good running backs. Now,
Always is.
do they
Yeah.
freak out and try to take the kid from Texas at 26?
Bijan Robinson.
I would fucking love to see
There's
it,
no way.
but I
he
think
falls
it's
that far.
yeah, he may not.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
There
but,
are
I mean,
weapons at tight end because Schultz left. He went
Yeah.
to the Texans.
tight end would be the spot that still worries me that we don't have, because what Dak has done well in his career is in tight ends.
His blankie.
Yeah.
Right now, Bijan is on the mocks is right around 10, so I don't think he's going to fall to 26. And right now on the mocks is looking at a tight end
Yeah.
for the Cowboys.
And there's 3 tight ends that are difference makers.
Can we get the kid from Alabama?
The 6'8", 268. No, that's the kid from Georgia.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right. It was Georgia, not Alabama. You're right.
Then there's a stud from Utah.
That's the one currently on
Kincaid?
Kuiper's mock is Kincaid, Dalton Kincaid.
He's a beast.
The kid from Georgia may not be old enough to come out.
No,
is he
he's
on that list?
He's coming out. Yeah.
He is? Okay.
That's an awesome name for a football player.
What is it?
Dalton.
Oh, yeah. Excellent.
Everyone remember Roadhouse?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, the new one's coming out.
Is,
With
there's
Jake-
a new one?
No!
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna
Why do
ruin
we
that.
have to redo every goddamn movie?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
See, you
Conor
lament-
McGregor.
You lament that, and I lament them taking stories from my childhood that all of us 45-year-olds remember and, like, making them into, like, historical films. It's not World War II. It's NWA and Michael Jordan.
But those are fine. I just don't need to see Roadhouse again.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like when they tried to make Caddyshack 2. Wah, wah, wah.
What was the old ESPN commercial? Best golf movie ever made. Caddyshack. Worst golf movie ever made. Caddyshack 2.
That guy.
What else with the Cowboys?
So they re-signed Cooper Rush
Yep, smart.
as the backup.
Very smart.
The people they lost, it's not that big a deal. And here's what's funny. CJ Goodwin was their stud special teamer. He's coming back. They lost Noah Brown to Houston, whatever. Houston is just like the seaside.
Yeah, they are, kind of, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I think they're freed up to where they can do well in the draft because they've addressed issues. They also signed a tackle.
Offensive tackle?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Can't pronounce his name.
Well, that's where I would probably be looking. I think I'd look at offensive line because you always should. You can never have too many dudes in the turnstile waiting to play their position when you're talking about the offensive line. I wouldn't mind
Chuma Idugo.
I wouldn't mind finding an electric out of the backfield third down back. Not that Tony Pollard can't be that, because he certainly can, but he is going to have his hands full this next season being the lead back.
Right, because he's never rushed for more than like 19 times in a game.
Yeah, right. So you're going to need to find opportunities to get him off the field. If we could find a good back out of the backfield for 3rd and 12s, 3rd and 8s, etc., I would have my eyes on a guy like that.
There's a kid that fits that bill out of Tulane.
Oh yeah,
who's a beast that they can probably get in the 4th or 5th.
Yeah, there you go.
A lot of the pundits are saying Tank Billingsley out of Auburn.
What position?
Running back.
Okay.
And maybe 3 or 4. So I mean, it's going to be fun.
Cool. Bob, you got anything for us from the world of F1 or?
It's been a weird start to that season.
Okay, thank you.
What about
that was it?
Dungeons and Dragons, Harry Potter? No?
Bob, it's okay to punch him.
Wizards and Warlocks.
You're punching him with your eyes.
He's shooting me with a laser beam.
No, it's been an interesting week. So I've been doing a few other things, so I haven't been able to spend as much time watching as I would like to.
Oh, my God. I have not missed one college basketball game, and I cannot wait for this weekend.
So is Catherine just really thrilled with your production at the house?
The worst thing that my wife ever did was decide on our wedding date being March the 16th.
Oh, boy.
Right at the beginning of March Madness every single year.
But that was a great wedding.
It was an awesome wedding. It was. It's been 10 years, by the way, since that wedding.
Well, we need to have a dance party.
Because
that wedding was a dance party.
It was a dance party. You bet.
Dance revolution. Shout out to Dr. Clark.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, it's been 10 years since that, and my wife has been mad at me this time of year for every year since. Because
it's not like she didn't know.
No. I mean, we went on our honeymoon, and I spent the better part of every evening just watching college basketball.
Did you pretend you were sick and watch it in the can?
I'll try that next time. Yeah. No, look, I'm sorry. You chose a bad time of year to get married, honey.
Can't change the stripes of this zebra.
No. Beware the Ides of March. What?
Nice one, Shakespeare.
Et tu, Brute.
Y'all have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.
How y'all feel out there? Do you feel good? I said, do you feel good? Come on. The groove feel good when it make you move. Make your next move your best move. I said the groove feel good when it make you move. Make your next move your best move. It feel good, don't it? It feel good. It feel good because you know it's good. Hey.
Holy shit. You're the only person I've met that would actually admit that they had bet on the presidential election.
I bet on Trump to win when he was plus 220.
And
he made me like $2,500.
It's a Vegas thing?
Oh, yeah. All of that is listed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're part of the problem, Jefferson.
Maybe so.
Oh, yeah.
Call 1-800. I have a problem in the state of Texas.
Oh, man.
When are we
My
going to
God.
legalize this shit?
Well,
so stupid.
Right after marijuana. In 2050.
I'm fine with legalizing. Can we get all the online sports books to have one hotline for GA and not have this disclaimer that lasts for 45 seconds?
Isn't it awful?
It's like every fucking state has a different number.
Save that. That's good.
It's recording.
That's good.